What are the chances that we see the first 4 picks of this year's NFL draft be quarterbacks?
I think there's a chance, and I was trying to figure out whether that's happened, not ever, like recently. And what I would say is there's at least a good chance, or I should say at least a chance. I know that's kind of like a sort of a sad answer there, not very definitive. But I think it comes down to this, is that the Carolina Panthers are hawks right now. They are looking for a quarterback this offseason. Deshaun Watson, we'll see how that trade market either develops or does not develop. Obviously, there are much more important situations that Deshaun Watson is going through right now. But the Carolina Panthers desperately need a quarterback. And if you look at the teams at pick 5, so Cincinnati at pick 5 and the Eagles at pick 6. Cincinnati's not taking a quarterback, and the Eagles have been giving some indications they're not going to go quarterback. So it makes me think that perhaps these guys are maybe these teams are more motivated to take a quarterback because they just sort of feel like that's the run. So it's going to cost a lot. It would be substantial capital for Carolina to move up from 8 to 3 as an example, and even for Atlanta to move up if they ever were to move up 1 slot or 2. But I think 4 quarterbacks is certainly in play here.
Where would you rate them if Jalen Hurts was in the draft this year too? Would they all be above Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I think so. Yep, I do believe so. And I think I know what the next question is from here. But yes, my answer is yes. Based off what we knew coming into last year's draft, I would have Jalen Hurts 5 or 6 in this year's class.
So if Carolina, right, doesn't move up from 8th, you're telling me that the Eagles are going to let potentially one of these all-world quarterbacks go. Is that not malpractice?
I actually was in a meeting, and we were talking about this more on Get Up as well at 8 o'clock, my feeling is that it's rare that a team pays a price for a quarterback that they believe is going to be a franchise quarterback in which it's not reasonable business. I'm not saying that it's always going to work out, but as we know, if you pay big for a franchise quarterback and he hits, then it doesn't matter what you paid. It's great, right? So if the Eagles truly believe, and I'm just going to use the example here, that Trey Lance, if he's sitting there at pick 6, is the real deal, he's your franchise quarterback, then why wouldn't you consider it? I understand that I thought Jalen Hurts was solid last year in the final 4 games. I didn't think he was, it wasn't Patrick Mahomes, right? But no one expected him to be. But let's not forget, it's not like the Eagles used the 10th pick on Jalen Hurts last year, right? He's a late second-round pick on him. I really like Jalen Hurts as a player. I think he's going to be I think he has a chance to be a pretty solid starter in the NFL. But if you think Trey Lance is special, and he's sitting there at pick 6, then I think you have to be open to business if you're Philadelphia.
So I guess because what I'm saying is you're not moving up or giving up draft equity for him. He's falling to you. The best player available is falling to you. You just signed Joe Flacco yesterday, so you have a built-in bridge quarterback for him, and that makes Jalen Hurts expendable, and you can try and trade him and get chips back from him.
Yeah, there are a lot of – I think that Jalen Hurts is on the roster no matter what next year. I think I would just be curious to see if the Eagles – my sense is that their plan going into the draft is probably not to pick a quarterback. That's not priority A in the way that I'm sure it will be for Jaguars, or I think the Carolina Panthers, I think other teams as well. But if the board falls a certain way and you're sitting there at pick 6 and you got 10 minutes to stew on it, I understand they have a massive need at wide receiver. No question about that. But I do think there's some merit potentially. Yeah, there's potentially some merit to – whether it's Trey Lance, whether it's maybe a Justin Fields, we're still waiting to see how quarterbacks 2 through 5 end up stacking up. But I think there's some value in taking a quarterback there at pick 6.
Field, according to Mel's mock, the first non-quarterback off the board is Kyle Pitts to the Bengals. Now, I mean, to me, this just feels like a luxury pick. Help me understand the value proposition of Cincy taking Kyle Pitts, a tight end, over one of the top tackles in this year's draft, or one of the top pass catchers at wide receiver. Help me understand that.
Yeah, so I think that part of the equation here for when you're drafting it at top 5 pick is that we know that these guys don't all become what they might sort of profile as during the pre-draft process. But if the sky or if the ceiling for Kyle Pitts was Travis Kelce 2.0, maybe even more athletic, Would you sign up for that if you were the Bengals right now at pick 5? I think the answer is yes, Chris. I think you'd be inclined to do so. Now,
only if I
feel
just to cut you off, only if I could protect my quarterback and keep him from getting cut in half like we saw when the Bengals played Washington earlier this past year.
Sure. And I think that the feeling right now for Mel in that mock draft was that the team bought itself some insurance on the right side of the line in Riley Reif, and that they still want Jonah Williams, their first-round pick from 2 years ago, to be their left tackle. So we can decide whether that's reasonable business or not. My feeling is with you that I would be looking towards an offensive tackle at pick 5. I also think that it's worth noting that so the pick is certainly reflective of the investments they made in the offensive line in Jonah Williams and Riley Reif. It's also just noting how special Kyle Pitts is. Mel has said this on our podcast. He's talked about this now multiple times. He's been doing this for 43 years. This is the highest grade he has for a tight end ever, just to give you an idea of how unique Kyle Pitts is as a player. So that's definitely part of the equation as well.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.